Have you ever had a comic spoiled by someone outside the comic book community? If not, consider yourself lucky. If so, welcome to the party. This is now your support group for everybody who's had to deal with the tragedy that is spoilers from outside the comic book community, be it person, media, website, whatever it is. That's what we're here to talk about. So happy Friday, everybody. For a little bit of Friday fun, this is a video that I've had in mind for a while, and I had to go to the Wayback Machine, archive.org, which is an internet archive site, takes snapshots of basically all over the internet from going back to sometime 1996. So just hundreds of thousands. I think they have well over 500,000 snapshots of, that's what they call them, snapshots of just various websites. So you go to a website and you plug in either, I don't know if there's probably not keywords, but I know at least just websites, and maybe you might be able to search by something else. But I just do websites just to get an idea of what websites look like at usually it's just a certain year. But for this video, I was thinking about this, like, oh my god, spoilers for comics, the times I've been spoiled. And so I say that for the second one. But the first one, I'm gonna start with this one because it was by family members on Facebook, and as they say, it be your own people. So going back to this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, yes, if you read any of IDW series, you know that surprise, somebody died. So back when Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 44 dropped, which was the death of Donatello, spoiler alert, he died, but he's back. I got some messages on Facebook, well, not messages on Facebook, but I was tagged in a couple statuses. Actually, but no, my cousin and it wasn't both families, it was all family, but I mean, one of my close guys, he's basically like family. So both of them had tagged me in something on Facebook talking about this damn comic that I hadn't read yet. I think I was doing something either at school or at work. So I obviously hadn't been to the shop yet. This was, what was that? Ninja Turtles 44. So that would have been whatever the hell year that dropped. And it was like, oh, hey cuz, have you read this book? Oh my god, did you see this by Donatello? So it was like a link to something, and I had already read it, like her actual status about it. So I didn't, no spoiler, nothing. I had no idea what I was reading. I just read it, and then I saw the link. Oh my god, Ninja Turtle dies, it's Donatello. And it was just over from there. I didn't have a chance. No, I wasn't ready. I was just SOL. And then my buddy, I think he tagged me in something else, either this at some time around the same time or later that day. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So I post something like, you know what, y'all killing me with these Ninja Turtle spoilers. I haven't read the damn book yet. Hadn't even been to the shop, pick up my books. Wasn't gonna happen for a few more days. So it could have been around 2014, 2015, probably 2015. And I was just like, oh my god, my cousin, she said, oh, I thought you would have read about it now. And I just said, nope, not a chance. It was just out there, Ninja Turtles, Donatello died. And I remember being just shook because I was like, wow, Ninja Turtle actually died. This is wild. And then I also, it's kind of timely because the Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin story should be beginning pretty soon. I don't even know when the first issue drops. But that one's supposed to come out, and it's supposed to be I don't know how many issues is it, just a mini-series. And there's one turtle left, the other three died, and you don't know who it is to start out with. All you see is in the promo art, there's just one turtle, and they're usually holding all the other Ninja Turtles weapons as well as all the bandanas, so you don't know who's really who, or at least maybe it's just been in black and white. So you're not quite sure who the hell Ninja Turtle is. So everybody's just kind of speculating who it might be. And we already did see Donatello die. I don't know about who's ever died, and I don't think any other turtle has ever really died in other comic series. I don't know if the old Mirage series, if a turtle ever died. So I don't know. Everybody's just kind of speculating. And honestly, since he's already died now, I figured that would be too easy to go to. So all right, you can't do that one. So who could it really be? I figure if anybody, if you're looking at the four turtles, and I'm just going on a complete tangent here, but if you get the four turtles, Leo and Raph have the best fighting power, so they're gonna fight to the end, no matter what. I don't know, my guess is probably Michelangelo, but that would hurt a lot of people. Everybody's gonna be hurt no matter who it is. I'll be devastated if it's Leonardo. But back to the main point, spoilers. So yeah, I had that one spoiled, and I just couldn't believe it. It was just kind of just one of those funny things. And as I said, I was reading the status, and I just caught the link that she tagged in there, posted in there, and I had just read it. I had stepped into it before I even knew what the hell was happening, and all of a sudden I just read this crazy spoiler for the Turtles. So that was just one time, and I think this one happened a few years later. But the main time what you saw in the thumbnail was Captain America 25. Spoiler, yes, Captain America died at one point, several times probably. But Captain America number 25. Let's go back. This is why I use archive.org, the Wayback Machine as they call it. You know, I just like to say Wayback Machine because it sounds fun. But I plugged this in to find some snapshots of MSN.com. So this is MSN I used to use when Hotmail was my main email address. MSN was always my homepage for my computer. Just come in, MSN.com, check some news. Not even too much really, but that was always just my homepage, and I would just kind of go from there. Usually sports stuff, and every so often some entertainment, just some world news stuff. So 2007, I had to track down the release date for this one because it had the publishing date, the release date, April, but it was actually released March 7, 2007. So I found this, and I couldn't actually find a snapshot of that day, which was the day that I saw it because it was New Comic Book Day was Wednesday or March 7th. But I found one from March 8th that had it still listed on the homepage, and as you saw here, this is what MSN looked like back in 2007. So, and then you'll also see under entertainment, it has Captain America killed off, but then when you click on the link, it actually goes into, it says movie news, which is weird because it wasn't the movie, it was the comic. So it kind of has this little article here, and then there was others. Like, I'm telling you, it got massive. If you don't remember, if you weren't in comics at the time, or if you just weren't reading Marvel or Captain America, this was huge. Like, this is before MCU, like, shit really kicked off, because I think Iron Man came out. Did Iron Man come out in 2007? Or 2000? No, it wasn't 2006. I don't know, 2008. I don't even remember. But this was huge. Like, all the media, all the, like, mainstream websites, everybody had this. Like, everybody talking about this. Captain America's dead. Captain America's dead. And I think news sites were at comic shops, talking to people, and maybe interviewing, I don't know about creators, but I feel like there were just videos and just reporters, like, talking to either shop owners or fans at comic shops, just talking about Captain America and his death and what it meant. So it was huge. So, New Comic Book Day, I was in school at the time, and what I always did was I would go, get home from school and get home from class and check, just hop on my computer, and I was just on there, just MSN.com, see what the hell's going on, and I saw it, and that's why I was looking for, like, a real snapshot of New Comic Book Day, because what I saw was the bigger, it was like a bigger shot. It wasn't just like a small thing in the bottom, as I've shown here, but it was huge. It was like, what is this? And I didn't understand. And I wasn't reading Captain America at the time, so it wasn't that huge to me specifically, but I felt it because it was still like the death. It was Captain America, like he's died. I was reading Civil War, well, I had been reading Civil War, it had ended by this point, but I think Frontline might have still been going on. There's still some other Civil War stuff coming out, because I think this dropped, I don't remember where Civil War ended though. It could have been within, it couldn't have been too much further, because this Captain America 25 followed right up after, so maybe a month or so after. And I'm looking, and I just saw, I was like, what? Captain America's dead? Like, what? No, like, how is this just here? And it was just all over. And that's why I always say, this one was huge for me, because this was like, all right, I want to get this book. I want to see what the hell happened. And it wasn't like some speculator shit like, oh my gosh, so this is going to be huge, let me go buy this book. No, I was like, I really just wanted it because I was curious. I wanted to read the story to see what the hell happened following all the events of Civil War, Cap's surrender, at the conclusion of that book, which I still think is such a great book. There were some inconsistencies with just some continuity stuff between the main series and a lot of the tie-in stuff, because there were so many tie-ins going on, and they're trying to do their own story from the perspective of all these different characters. So sometimes I think the number of deaths in the inciting event weren't always consistent, which was a weird thing to do. I feel like that should have been, whoever was editing it should have made sure of that, but I'm not 100% sure. Obviously that was 13 plus years ago. So we got Captain America, and I was like, all right, let me check this out. And then I ended up picking that up, and I don't think I picked up any more of that series, but it just kind of, like, I saw that in reading Captain America through Civil War, obviously, which I was absolutely digging Cap. I was Team Cap all the way. And yeah, I was just like, man, this is wild. I want to read more Cap. So that's why I've said in previous videos, I didn't appreciate Captain America until he died, because after it was Civil War and then his death, I was like, wow, Captain America I was really fucking Captain America through Civil War, and then I went back and saw a whole bunch, and after that it was just history. I've written most Captain America series ever since, and went back to obviously still collecting his Volume 1 run, and just still reading everything that he's his main series, and then I always keep an eye on him in whatever Avengers and other Marvel events that he's been a part of. So I was just like, man, that was huge. And I just like came home and I just saw that, and I don't really know. I can't really say I'm like I know what I would be expecting. Obviously, I just had no idea. And for something like that just to hit the mainstream so quick, and I can just imagine what that was really like for fans, like the diehard Captain America fans who have been reading them, especially like older fans and reading them, you know, just early on for decades, and then people who had already been reading the title and his character in like, you know, series before. So it was just huge. And then I thought it was dope just because of the mainstream effect. Like all these news outlets talking about it, you don't really see comic news come from. And that's why it's always funny to see, even today, like the Hollywood Reporter gets a lot of comic exclusive stuff, which is so weird to me because if like any like hardcore comic fans, like you just know like that's obviously just so weird because Hollywood Reporter, obviously you're talking about like entertainment stuff, but it's usually geared more towards movies and television, probably not music. But I just kind of odd to see that, and then just at that time, like so then that kind of led into the MCU stuff. So now everything like conventions we already seen on news outlets and just news clips and articles. So just to see some actual straight comic stuff hit big like that, I thought that was huge. But again, it still didn't stop the shock from Captain America. I was sitting there like, what is happening right now? Captain America's dead. And I found out on MSN.com. So I like hit my main shop. They didn't have any more copies. It already went big. So I hit the dude who runs my shop. One of the shop that I went to and still kind of go to every occasion when I go back home. And he had saved the copy for me. It was I wanted the Ed McGuinness variant, but I was like, I think he was gonna charge me like $10. I was like, nah, I'm good. And I was like, it wasn't that serious. I was like, oh, never mind. But then he like changed his mind, sold it to me for cover price, so he held on to it for me, and I just went and picked it up. I think I went home that weekend. But actually, I do want the standard cover, which I would have got it back then. I just like, oh, for some reason, it just didn't appeal to me. But as time grew on, I kind of got over Ed McGuinness's variants, and I was like, whatever, I don't really care that much. And this like that Captain America was like his hand, the handcuff. I think there's newspaper behind him, and like some blood kind of splattered across it. And it's just like, dude, this is cool. But yeah, so that was that. And I was just thinking about those two, and just the idea of getting spoiled. Like I feel like because I read comics late, when I get my comicsshop.com shipments, I don't really care about being like reading stuff currently. It's okay if I'm behind, because I'm always behind on comics anyway, and that's okay with most comics. So I'm not too far about that, and I'm good about catching spoilers. So when I see videos, people pop up videos or reviews for new books, I usually don't watch those. If I have an inkling that they're going to talk about a book that I'm reading, like I just won't watch the video, or I'll skip. If I watch the video and they're going to talk about a book that I'm reading that I don't want to get spoiled, I'll just skip past it. Like please be helpful and drop a spoiler alert. That's why I did a spoiler warning. That's why I did that for the Iron Man review and discussion video. I put that in the thumbnail, spoilers, because I'm going to talk the shit out of this book. And if you saw the time on that video, obviously I was going to go into it because I went through everything in that book, pretty much. I just missed out some other minor details, but like I was going to spoil the hell out of that book. So I always appreciate people who do that. I try to do that if I know I'm going to spoil something, or if I have an idea that I'm like, all right, people might want to know something about this book. If it's like a minor detail of that you might see in the preview, I won't mention it, but I usually try to be kind of that, just so people know. But I'm not too worried about stuff like that because I can usually avoid that stuff on Twitter. I'm usually pretty good about that because I'm not actively searching books that I'm reading too often, unless it's something I just read. So I'm usually good about evading that stuff like that. So I just wanted to talk about this because I just thought it was something fun, something cool and quirky to do for Friday fun. Talk about comic books because, again, that mainstream effect and people doing it. And I just thought it was funny that my cousin, one of my best friends, spoiled a Ninja Turtles book on Facebook to me and like status tagged me in it, and I just didn't know what I was stepping into. So it was just kind of again, it was just funny. And you couldn't just do anything but sit back and laugh. It wasn't like a big deal or anything. So it was just, I always think about that stuff. I tried to find the status that she tagged me in, but like Facebook search just didn't, I couldn't pull it up. And I was like, obviously that was mad years ago, so that just wasn't gonna happen. But again, I just wanted to do this and get some ideas. I know some of you had to have encountered this before, either Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, maybe Reddit, perhaps. I doubt that. I don't really count that one, but just maybe any other websites, or again, like you get actual news, television news coverage of comic books every so often, and that's what the hell happened with Captain America 25, the death of Captain America following Civil War. So share all your comments, or share all your thoughts in the comments below, all your experiences. Anytime that you've been spoiled by, you ever had a comic spoiled by someone or an entity outside of the comic book industry, especially let me know what you think about just comic books, actual comic books, not movie stuff or convention stuff, but actual comic books getting mainstream news coverage, and some maybe articles or places that you've seen that stuff happen. Share it all in the comments below. Let us all know. Comic books, enjoy yourselves. Let's have fun. So this is GENOTHADRAGON. Happy reading, happy hunting, happy collecting. Have a good weekend. Thanks for watching, and peace out.